Welcome to Anglesey for rounds 16, 17 and 18 of the Mazda MX-5 Supercup. It's not just the weather that's hotting up though, but the championship battle is as well. As Liam Murphy, Tom Roach and pole position man Luke Herbert are fighting it out for the all-important championship points. It's over to Andy McEwen to take you through the rest of the grid.
Thank you very much, Lloyd, and those are the top three drivers in the championship in reverse order, but it's really all about Luke Herbert versus Tom Roach. Just 13 points separate the two arriving here at Anglesey well into the second half of the season now. Liam Murphy is all on his own really in third, with Johnny Greensmith and Jack Harding likely to fight over fourth place in the remaining rounds. Well, we couldn't really have written a better script for you because those are the top three on the grid for this first race of the weekend. Herbert and Roach share the front row with Murphy and Ben Short on row 2. Jack Harding should be one to watch from row 3 as well as Aidan Hills, whilst Paul Sheard makes a welcome return to the championship alongside Johnny Greensmith on the fourth row. Jake Bailey and Nick Dunn round out the top 10 ahead of Richard Wicklin and Sam Tatler. Brian Chandler one to watch from the 7th row alongside Simon Orange, with Carl Garnett and Simon Fleet on row 8. Row 9 for Nathan Bell and Alistair Kellett. Row 10 Gary Townsend and Alec Livesley. Alex King and Jeremy Crooker next up, then Will Sharp and Duncan Harris on the 12th row. It is a 30-car grid that is rounded out by Alex Miller, George Grant, Greg Catton, Stephen Boyles, Steve Dolman and newbie to the championship Oliver Payne rounds out the field. Well, we have 3 races coming your way this weekend from Anglesey. As you can see, the conditions couldn't be much more perfect for the first race, but we do anticipate that for tomorrow's 2 races, the weather could turn, so the drivers will be wanting to make the most of the dry and sunny conditions here this afternoon. Roach in the green car on the outside of row 1, pole sitter Herbert in the blue on his left-hand side. Who wins the race down towards turn 1? It's a pretty even getaway from the pair of them, but with the inside line for that first corner, I'd imagine that Luke Herbert will likely hold on to the lead. Yes, he does. He just eases Roach a bit wide to defend the position as well. Murphy third, Harding in fourth, then side by side for fifth between, by the looks of it, on the inside line Ben Short and the outside Johnny Greensmith down towards the banking for the first time. A few lockups further back. Let's hope they'll get through cleanly. Certainly the leaders have. Yep, nicely done. 1 or 2 cars run a bit wide further back, but already at the head of the field, the leading 2 are making a bit of a break here with Luke Herbert the leader, Tom Roach in second. Now Roach will really want to go on the attack here as early as possible, get the lead away and try and maybe force Luke Herbert to defend from some cars behind. Roach pulls to the outside line down towards Rocket. He's going to try and go right round the outside here because the next 2 corners are right-handers. He'll have the inside line. He gets eased out onto the edge of the track and Liam Murphy buys into it as well. 3 abreast through the right-hander. Tom Roach easing out wide. He forces Herbert to the edge of the track. That was aggressive racing from Roach, but he'll feel that it's what he has to do to try and claw back that deficit in the championship. So Roach takes the lead. Jack Harding moves through into second place. He's waving furiously at the cars behind him, saying, work with me, don't race me, let's go after Tom Roach, the race leader, because they all know that if you give Roach the lead and a bit of a break, he's likely to pull an even bigger gap down towards the hairpin we come for the first time. We're on the full international layout this time, so we get this extra overtaking opportunity down at the end of the Tom Price straight. Top 2 stay single file though, so it's Roach that leads the way. It's Harding in second. Ben Short has come through into third. Liam Murphy fourth. Greensmith is fifth. So Luke Herbert really did get mugged then. He led going into Rocket, and by the time they came out of that complex, he was all the way down in 6th place. He's immediately trying to fight back though. Up the inside of Greensmith now in towards the bus stop, and he will go into 5th place before the end of the first lap. But work to be done now for the championship leader, and that really was Tom Roach signalling his intent. There are 3 races here at Anglesey. He wants to win them all, and he wants to try and make sure that Luke Herbert scores as few points as many. And we've seen from the past that Tom Roach is not afraid to use tactics like that to try and edge Luke a little bit further down the order maybe, or edge his championship rivals further down the order and try and swing the points in his favour. Further back, side-by-side battle, that's Richard Wicklin up the inside of Paul Sheard, the 2 grey cars, and Richard will go through, and behind them Brian Chandler is doing battle with pretty much everyone else it seems, just outside the top 10. 1 car runs a bit wide, that's Sam Tatler, the number 66, and so Nick Dunn will go past him in the white number 17 car. This is the battle between Wicklin and Sheard as the leaders are fanning out again. Richard Wicklin has had a really good start, started down in 11th, he's already well inside the top 10. As the leaders turn their way through Rocket for the second time, Roach, Harding and Short just starting to get away now from the 2 blue cars fighting over 4th, and it is now Luke Herbert who's into 4th place, so he made the move on Liam Murphy in towards Rocket. He made it stick, so Murphy down to 5th place now, with Johnny Greensmith behind him. And after a very frenetic first lap of the race, things don't really show many signs of calming down just yet, because Jack Harding will feel like he can win this race. It's been a little while since we've seen Jack on the top step of the podium, and he'll definitely see this as a good opportunity. These three pulling away now from the rest of the field as well, so they're not under too much pressure from the Herberts and Murphys of the grid. So Roach, Harding and Short for the time being dicing over the race lead, and Harding had a really good run out of the hairpin then. He's in the slipstream. Tom Roach doesn't feel the need to defend just yet though, but maybe he should have done, because Jack Harding throws one up the inside. Now, can he get the car stopped? Roach is going to try and get the switch back. There's a bit of contact on the apex of the corner. Roach definitely has his nose up the inside line, side by side down towards the first corner. No, has to back out of it. So Jack Harding goes through into the race lead. We start lap 3 and we have our third different race leader already, but it's not over yet. Roach will try and come back at him if he can. Down into the hairpin they go. Banking though at that corner means that you can carry so much speed into the turn, and the camber of the road sort of catches you and helps turn. Harding, more gesticulations there from him as he now tries to signify to Tom Roach that they should work together. As behind, Paul Sheard seems happy to let people through. Nick Dunn there at the inside in towards Church Corner. So whether it's an issue for Paul Sheard, I'm not too sure. Nathan Bell further back having a nice dice as well, making a move into the quick right-hander. There is Carl Garnett with Brian Chandler just behind him. Carl Garnett moved into the top 10 in the points after a strong showing at Snetterton last time out. This is the midfield battle though, and this is where it gets particularly entertaining. That's number 11 car of Nathan Bell, and he's about to be assaulted potentially up the inside. That was very, very close indeed. Simon Orange that was trying to make a move, and luckily they avoided contact. Back at the lead group, Luke Herbert's now worked his way back into third place at the expense of Ben Short. And now the two championship contenders are right back together. Through the left-hander at Siemens, out over the curb, not over the grass though, because as Johnny Greensmith has just discovered, there's not much grip out there. It may be dry, but it's still not as grippy as the black stuff, and he loses momentum all the way down the next straight. You can see the gap that he's dropped now to the leading quintet, which are still led by Jack Harding now. If Tom Roach decides that defending from Luke Herbert is more important than attacking Jack Harding for the race lead, then this is good news for Jack Harding, because he should be able to pull away, and that certainly seems to be the case at the moment, doesn't it? Harding is building a few cars' lengths advantage over a very defensive Tom Roach. Tom is looking in his mirrors more than he's focusing out front, so I think that he has decided his priority in this race is to make sure he beats Luke Herbert, and if there is a way of maybe enticing some of the cars behind him to join in the fun as well, then for sure Tom Roach will do that and try and get as many cars between himself and Luke as possible. 13 points doesn't sound like that much of a deficit, but when there are only 2-point increments between each place on the track, it can take quite a while to regain those points. Here's a nice battle going on between Gary Townsend and Will Sharp. Turning through the right-hander at the banking. Alex King is the other yellow car just behind, so all the yellow cars getting themselves together just towards the back end of the top 20 here. No moves made for the time being. Head through Church Corner though, and back down the school straight, which is anything but straight. There are two distinct right-hand kinks in the middle of it. This is the first one. Oh, as in front of them, bit of chopping and changing going on. Alistair Kellett there losing a place, perhaps having just run wide. There is the second kink, which is a pretty substantial one just before they hit the brakes into Rocket, which is where the leaders have just exited. Top three stay the same order, but for fourth place I think I spotted Liam Murphy going past Ben Short there. Yes, I think he has, but Ben may be coming back at him as Luke Herbert comes back at Tom Roach here, in towards the left-hander at Siemens. Backed out of that one. Now for Luke Herbert, his priority isn't necessarily to beat Tom Roach at all costs, because he does have these 13 points in hand. He doesn't need to take a massive risk here and maybe end up getting involved in contact, which could lead to a penalty or a damaged car, or at the very least losing more positions. He can finish in third place behind Tom Roach here quite happily. But if he thinks that Tom Roach is going to start playing some games here and trying to hold him up and back him into the pack, then you can forgive Luke Herbert for maybe feeling a little bit more edgy to find a way through. Certainly Roach looks defensive at the moment, but that may just be genuine defensive driving, trying to keep Herbert at bay. At the moment they've got a bit of breathing space over Liam Murphy in fourth, but Liam will be trying to bridge the gap, and if he can do, he'll be bringing some friends with him, because that's a four-way fight for third between Murphy, Short, Greensmith and Richard Wickham. Good to see Richard Wickham back at the front of the field. Oh, that's George Grant, the series sponsor, going a bit slowly, and that may have just held up Tom Roach slightly, because you saw he had to go really defensive then into Church Corner. Church is the fastest corner on the track, and as a result, if you go in there on a tight defensive line, it kills your momentum all the way up the back straight. It's often into a headwind as well up the stall straight, and it's uphill. Momentum is king, and you can see that has hurt Tom Roach, because Herbert drags himself alongside. He's trying to go around the outside through the first part of Rocket. Roach is always going to show him the edge of the road though, and Luke Herbert again very sensible there, there, backed out of the move, did not want to risk that ending in contact and perhaps ruining his whole race. And of course you start race 2 where you finish race 1, so a non-finish here can completely ruin your weekend because you end up then at the back of the grid for race 2, and that's where often all of the trouble can be. So Luke Herbert really has to drive with his head here. He's in a very difficult position, but if he can just play it safe and keep it calm and collected, there's no reason why he can't pick up some solid points from this race. Even if he has to give up a couple of places, he's still fighting though. He's up the inside of Roach into the hairpin, and this time Roach leaves him space on the inside line. So can Herbert do it this time around? He's got a good exit from the corner, but the next corner is a left-hander, and he is on the right-hand side of the road. So unless he risks going right round the outside at the final turn, I think he's probably going to have to duck back in line. Let's see. He is late on the brakes. He's got his nose ahead on the way into the turn, but I think he was preparing there to let Roach have the corner. Let's see as they head down towards turn 1 again. There are Richard Wickland and Johnny Greensmith, but the head of the group, yes, it's still the green Blendini car. So number 25, Tom Roach, hangs on to second position, but certainly does not seem to be having it all his own way, does he? Down in the banking again. We're now approaching mid-race distance, and you can see there Roach really holding up Luke Herbert, whether intentionally or not. It is backing Herbert into Murphy and Ben Short. Further back, they're 3 abreast as George Grant goes a lap down to a few of the midfield runners, but Luke Herbert will be getting very towy here to try and find a way through. He's in the hornet's nest now, isn't he? He's got cars all around him, and this is not what the championship leader wants. It's all starting to build up to a real crescendo here at Anglesey. The first race of the weekend is going to be a very, very dramatic second half of it, I think.